My special guest today is a fellow Scouser who, like myself, has made his home here in San Antonio, Texas. Director of coaching at Alamo Heights Fire Youth Soccer Program. It's my pleasure to welcome to the show Mr. Steve Jennings. How are you, sir?
Hey, Joe, doing good. How are you? What a great day outside there is today.
It's a fabulous day outside, isn't it? You were born in the famous Scotty Road, Steve, area of Liverpool.
Yeah, obviously young age. I was born in Scotty Road. Spent a lot of time in that area. My dad used to work down that area too. So, yeah, that was my home for up to about 11 years of age. And then I moved up to Zachary.
Well, I grew up myself close by to Scotty Road. And here we are in Texas. My dad always says Scousers get where water can't.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, yeah.
But did you start playing football from an early age?
Yeah, Joe, I remember playing in the streets. I remember the sidewalk curb, or I want to call it now. I remember playing against the side of a house, painting a goal on the side of a end of terraced houses, I guess. And the only way you knew if you scored was when the ball was wet and it did that patch on the wall, and you could say no, it went inside the post. So yeah, it was probably 4 to 5 years of age is when I started, Joe.
Well, it's like that in Liverpool, isn't it? As soon as you can walk, you're kicking the ball. You know,
yeah.
They either put a ball in front of you or a pair of boxing gloves on you back home.
Yeah, in fact, I did at one time try and get into boxing as well, and that was just to take care of myself. It wasn't for anything else, but and that was run by the church, I think, at that time. So they had a boxing gym close by in one of the schools, and so I almost set foot inside the door, just didn't do it.
Yeah. So you went on to play for Knowsley United, Kirby Town, and Hoylake FC. Back home?
Yeah, and I forgot Prescott Town as well. I remember getting rides from one of the guys over to Prescott Town as well, over the water, playing over there. So yeah, and then for me it was a Wednesday, Saturday, Sunday type of schedule. I'd play on 3 different teams.
Yeah, well, do you know what? An old neighbour of mine, I'm going back, I was probably about 10 years old, he used to take me to Kirby Town to watch the games, and he was trying to get into the first team himself.
So went back about 10, 15 years ago, and I think they were playing in the FA Cup first round. Got knocked out, but that was their claim to fame at the time. So yeah, a lot of football in my day. So coming over here and coaching was just another step.
How did you come to move to the USA?
Yeah, it's a long story, but my wife's parents had an American relation over here that they used to come and visit, and then they found a business that they bought. They sold. They had a sub post office back in actually close to Anfield. I think it was Robson Road, maybe, down just up the street from Anfield. So they did well at that sub post office at the time, and then they sold that. They came over. They opened up a business. We came to visit, and then we decided to. We had the opportunity to stay and help in their business, so that's what we did. And that business was like an activewear shop, but they pushed their soccer gear as well. So I was out as a salesman, I guess, selling soccer gear, but I ended up, refereeing and coaching, and that would sell, some part of the business as well. So then it left from there, and I went sort of full-time coaching.
Did you come straight to San Antonio?
Yeah, came straight to San Antonio. Lived in San Antonio all life now since I came over here back in '82. Wow, 82. I've done a lot of traveling in the early days with the state teams, the Olympic development teams, and the national teams. In fact, I did a lot of travel all over USA. Went up north, went to Florida, went across to Vegas, and actually I went to Vegas for the tournament, playing a tournament myself, my brother-in-law, and an Irish guy. We joined a team over there, and they had West Ham guy that used to play up front for West Ham. I can't think of his name right now. He played up front for us in that tournament in Las Vegas, and we ended up losing to a bunch of Italian waiters that were really good. Yeah,
I'm trying to think of the West Ham player is now. What era?
Just can't think of his name right now. But
what was San Antonio like back then, Steve? Because I've been here 15 years. What was it like when you came here in '82?
There wasn't much outside really. 410, the Ring Road 410, Loop Road. 604 was still like a one-lane road, and once you got to close to my area, say the airport, once you got beyond the airport, there was really not much out there. So it's grown. It's grown way out there. In fact, as you know, Stone Oak is almost like a separate city right now, and people are finding land and houses a little bit cheaper as you go further north outside San Antonio. And then, of course, it grew on the south side with the Toyota plant down the south side. And so it's grown that way too. And our soccer club right now is actually looking for some land. And, of course, land in this city is really expensive. And as you go out, you can buy land, obviously, a lot cheaper. And so we're looking at places where it's affordable right now. So,
was there no Riverwalk back then? Because the Riverwalk's the heart and soul of San Antonio.
Yeah, no, it wasn't. It was back then. The Riverwalk was still, a good place to go. Yeah, it was. There wasn't as many things around it, and it's grown with the mall that's down there. They added the mall. They built the extra Riverwalk. They extended it. And it was still there. It wasn't as big, but it was actually, it hasn't changed that much on the actual Riverwalk. It's added more places to it and squeezed a few more pubs and restaurants in there too. But the actual Riverwalk itself is pretty much the same.
So back then, Steve, there wasn't many coaches back then in the US. Football, soccer, they say here, it wasn't as big then as it is now.
No, there wasn't as many. There was a few of us around. And in fact, I did I did about 3 years in New Braunfels as well, coaching up there with a club. But the license courses were out there, and the top license was the A license. And I pursued my C and then my B and then my A. And that was the highest level at that time. And it was probably only 2 or 3 of us in San Antonio, maybe, that had that level license.
Right.
And that was maybe until about 5 to 10 years afterwards. So the 3 of us could boast, we had the top license in the USA. But it's grown now, and there's quite a few guys out there that have gone for their licenses, especially some of the English guys now, because you come over and you think you know it all, I guess, and you've got to follow the American system somewhat and put your flavor on it. And I went to the course and spent a lot of time with another guy that played for Middlesbrough. His name was Gary Hamilton, pro player for about 10 years, tremendous player, pro, and we both agreed that the license courses, even though he was Scottish, but the license courses did teach us how to teach players in the right mythology. So
you were talking about West Ham there. Sorry to interrupt you. You're talking about West Ham. I've just thought of something that I was talking to Brendan Keys. I don't know if you know Brendan. He's a coach in Houston, Irish guy, and he's president of Celtic FC America. And I was telling him when he was on the show a few weeks ago that probably about 16 years ago, I was in Florida. I was on the ships at the time, and I met. Do you remember Ian Bishop? He was a Scouser. He played for Man City and he played for West Ham. He'd just come over then, and I got talking to him. Him and his family were on the ship cruising, and he'd just come over to start coaching then in Miami. And he said, "We're moving to Miami." Yeah, that was probably 2004.
Yeah, nowadays there's a lot out there from the UK, and I hosted Jimmy Melia and Roy Reese.
I know Jimmy's brother.
Yeah, those guys were really, we went out for a couple of beers, and those guys, I learned a lot just sitting talking to those guys, having a few beers and with them. And Roy Reese was a tremendous guy. He's passed away now, but he was up in Houston with the Texans. And Jimmy Mealy, another guy too. And
well, Jimmy played for Liverpool, didn't he? I know actually. I know Ronnie's brother really well. Yeah.
I mean, those guys. So, over the years, coaching wise, going back to those early days, we never really had the equipment that's out there now. Everything was done with bags and, you had a few cones and stuff. But now, you've got all this additional equipment that helps the players improve, whether it's ladders or poles or hurdles or rebounders, and there's a lot of stuff out. In fact, I'm looking at some new device that you actually put on your shoes, and it measures how far you run and how many touches on your left foot, right foot, stuff like that. You can tell, whether the players needs to work harder or do more with one side or the other side, and it's got heart rate, it's got all sorts of stuff on it that you can collect that information, that data, and then look at it and see where you need to go to the next level. So it's changed a lot over the years. Definitely changed a lot.
Yeah, and you're going to add that into the programs, yeah?
Yeah, I'm going to add that in. A friend of mine has a little indoor place. Does a real good job, and he's got a couple in there right now. He's going to lend me one just to test it out, and then if that's the case, I'm going to buy half a dozen and just use it on players within the teams.
Steve, you've been at Alamo Heights Fire Club for 15 years now, is that right?
Yeah, Joe, 15 years. Started part-time, and then I took on the full-time coaching role maybe 10 years ago.
Tell us about the programs you run and the age groups and stuff with the kids.
Yeah, we've got programs for all ages from 4 years of age through 19 years of age. Oh, wow. And we have different levels of play, recreational level, youth academy, and then also competitive levels, which really starts at the age of U11 through U18, U19 is the more competitive levels where players try out, make the team, and then we put a professional staff member in charge of that team. So the kids are getting more training time, and with a professional coach gives them the opportunity to learn more, So that's the programs we have. And right now we're actually in the middle of tryouts. So we've got some new players coming out that we're looking at to build the teams for next seasonal play.
You're also responsible for educating the other coaches within the academy. And one young guy I want to talk about that you brought in is Connor Chilvers, who was goalkeeper for Basildon Town FC and also youth coach for Southend United.
Yeah, Connor's a great guy, young guy, lots of energy, lots of drive, knowledgeable about the game. We found him out there. He was with a different club at the time. And then I was looking at a goalkeeper coach, and his name popped up. And he lives in Alamo Heights, so he lives close to where
he lives close to me, actually. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, he's right in the neighborhood, and he was looking, I guess, for somewhere that he didn't have to drive too far as well. And it sort of fell right into what we needed. So we took him on board, and he did a really good job with the goalkeepers. And then, I was talking to him about can he also coach, teams or. And he said, yeah, he can do that too. So we put him in charge of a couple of teams. And the boys team, I think, even though he's married, I think that all the moms want to marry him again. So, and then the girls team, they love him to death as well. And the girls team especially had success recently by going to Houston for the state playoffs. So, yeah, I've talked to him a bit. He's gonna end up doing a bit more with his club as he grows with the club. So he's going to get more responsibility and more in charge. So he's still got a little bit of time that he's grown into the new be a new position that he's grown into. But does a great job. He's got a great attitude. He's real positive. He actually he's got good sportsmanship as well. You know, you can lose and you can win. You got to, so
unusual for a Millwall fan.
yeah, and a lot of times, in the younger days, you sort of lose your cool a little bit, especially when you lose and you become a
Yeah.
bit negative, perhaps, to the other. And so he shows that on the sideline. He's real positive, and if he's positive on the sideline, the parents tend to be the same way.
Yeah.
But if you're real negative on the sideline, use the referee, as you know, then some of the people will join in. That's not what this club's about. We want to make sure that we have, as I say, great attitudes and good sportsmanship.
And as you know, my little girl took part in one of your camps a couple of years ago. And
Yeah.
Connor was coaching her. And during the break, she came over to me and she said, Dad, she said, Connor keeps telling me to find spice. I don't know what he means. I'm like, what? To find spice. I said, and I twigged. I said, it's his accent.
Yeah.
He's asking you to find space. And she thought, because she said to me, like the Spice Girls, I don't know what he means. I said, no. It's where he's from. Ivor, find spice. Ivor, find spice. I said, he's telling you to find space. That's what it was.
Yeah, over the years, you sort of tend to lose your accents a bit. Or what you do is develop how you talk to people so they can easily understand it. And I think that goes in with, I guess losing some of the accents because you're trying to make sure that you're reaching out to the people and they can really understand. A funny story. I'm not sure I can tell this one, but
go on.
I was coaching. I was in a coaching clinic. I was teaching. I did a lot of coaching clinics in the past. A lot of people come out, and I had about 100 people there. It's like by myself. So I had to demonstrate, show, talk, and at one point, I wanted to be split into two groups. So I said, "Okay, white shirts over here and dog shirts over there," and they just looked at me and said, "White shirts over here, dog shirts over there." And I said, "Why are you not moving?" And they said, "Why are you calling us dog shit?" Yeah. So instead of, they thought it was dog shit. So, yeah. So eventually, they moved to that. So I had to clear up how I said things then at that time. So, yeah. Connor's a bit more, he's not as bad as that. Find spice. I think he's definitely changed a little bit in the way he says things, but
yeah,
he still has, still has that English accent, so still got it.
Well, they love it over here. Let's be honest about it, don't they?
Yeah. They do. I mean, the old days, it was that accent would get you through a lot of things. You obviously know what you're talking about. You obviously know the game, and back then, we got away with things, but I just made sure that I went and got my licenses so I could, tell people, well, even though I'm from England, I know generally most of what I'm doing is right. So, and that's what I tell the staff. I always pushing the staff to learn more, do more, and we have in-house coaching stuff as well. So we always want to make sure that sometimes you have to change what you do every 3 years. Things change, so you have to, don't live in the past, but
you got to move with the times.
Move with the times. There you go.
Yeah. Now, the pandemic has affected so many of us in so many professions, certainly sports. I mean, who would have thought we'd be watching our football teams in the English Premier League without fans in the stadium?
Yeah, I mean, that's a tough one, isn't it? I know we got some fans back recently, and I think that helped the teams, the home teams, because a lot of, for my team, they won more away games than they did win at home. So
I know, because it was always like we're at home this week, so we've got more, and we're playing a big team. But with the pandemic, it didn't matter where they played, did it?
No, I know it's a sad situation. That really affected youth sports over here in the US as well as over back in the UK. But in the US, we had we weren't able to access our normal fields because our normal fields are on Fort Sam Houston fields base, I should say, and they were on lockdown. So
Fort Sam's, you're not actually operating from Fort Sam at the moment, no?
No, right now I think we're still a couple of weeks away. The status to get in, the Bravo status is a status that we should be able to get back on base, and they're still going through the channels right now just to make sure that it's safe, I guess, to go back. So,
well, would you think it's more strict because it's a military base?
Yeah, it definitely was. It definitely was. But the people on base now looking to. Some of those people on base didn't sign up for soccer because we were outside the base and they didn't want to travel. And easy for them to walk out their house, walk down the street, I guess. Right. But now, and they'd be pushing behind the scenes for the people in charge to open it back up again. And we hear whispers and we hear that most people on base are vaccinated now, so it's just a matter of time now before we get back on.
Where have you been operating your practices then?
Yeah, we went to a local park, rented a field. They have 3 lit fields. We were able to get 1 lit field with space around it. So we accommodated our teams on different nights, different times, and tried to use the space effectively. And some things you could do, and some things you couldn't. So that's been our home base, and it's in a flood zone. So when it rains heavy, like it did a couple weeks ago, that actually filled up to the tree line was. You can see the water line is 6 foot high. Obviously, it drained away, and this week it's been not bad. And then tonight should be wonderful tonight. The weather's absolutely gorgeous right now outside.
It's been crazy. I mean, the rain, we've had the last couple of weeks. It's been for San Antonio.
Yeah, our fields on Fort Sam, we would get back on there because they have a good drainage system. And so the rain would have to be really heavy for us not to get on those fields. So we did miss almost a full week of training during the heavy rains a week or so ago.
So on the business side, have you been working from home a lot during the pandemic?
Yeah, I'm able to do a lot from home. So I get up in the morning and do the emails and work out things and look at programs and try and recruit teams and deal with the staff and that type of stuff. I usually take sort of my lunch hour at either 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock when the game's on TV.
Yeah. And
so I usually end up watching the game. It's been great to watch the games on TV almost every day.
Yeah.
And then I go back to the fields, leave the house, and then evening time I'm coaching over at the Almost Basement Fields till.
Oh, you're by Almost Park there, yeah?
Yeah, Almost Basement. It's a city park, and we have to rent those fields, so we have to pay the city to be on those fields. And I've already booked those fields through November this year.
That's good.
Just in case something happens with Fort Sam.
Yeah,
I've got them booked. Yeah. So.
Well, what's the best way for the parents to contact you, Steve, and find out more about the soccer programs for the kids?
Yeah, I guess the 2 ways. They can go into the website, which is the www.ahfsh.org, or they can actually email me at training, training, at ahfsh.org.
And that's the Alamo Heights Fort Sam Houston, is that what it stands for?
Yeah, that's what it stands for, Alamo Heights Fort Sam Houston.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, you know what? Before we do finish, I want to mention a fellow expat, friend of yours, friend of mine, Tommy Smith, here in San Antonio, because he listens to the show, Tommy, every week. So he's happy right now. Obviously, he's a staunch Man City fan. He's from Manchester.
I think it's unfortunate that they're going to lose this Sunday, though, Tommy. So, yeah, but if Tommy wants to learn a bit of soccer, you can come to my camps. We have some camps in June, July. We've got 2 weeks in June, 2 weeks in July. So, Tommy, if you're out there listening right now and you want to get your shoes back on and learn a bit of trickery, come out to the camps, Tom.
He's actually played against you, he's told me, in the past.
Yeah. Tommy didn't play on the same team as me when I first came over.
Right.
But when we started getting a little bit older, Tommy would come out, practice, and then play a little bit with us. And Tommy's a good player.
On a serious note, he played for years back home. He's told me about, he played for many years, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't see him in his prime, but then he didn't see me in my prime either. So, yeah, Tommy's a good guy. Yeah.
I'll tell you one story about Tommy. Do you remember when we played in the Champions League final, before we won it with Klopp, when we actually lost and Gareth Bale scored them 2 goals? Yeah. Well, Tommy calls me that morning. He said, "Are you going to the pub to watch the game?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Okay, so I'll come down and watch it with you." Now, as you know, he's a Manchester City fan. He's from Manchester. He said to me, "Have you got a spare Liverpool shirt?" I said, "What for?" He said, "I'm supporting Liverpool today." I said, "You wouldn't wear a Liverpool shirt." He said, "No, honestly," he said, "I'm going to support, I'm not supporting Madrid, I'm supporting Liverpool." I showed up with the shirt, and he comes in with an England shirt on, T-shirt, goes in the toilet, gets changed, and he wore that Liverpool shirt, and we lost the final. I said, "Don't ever ask me, can you borrow any of my shirts again?"
Yeah, but, Tommy, we don't need your help anymore, Tom. Yeah.
Well, Steve, it's been an absolute pleasure, mate. Thank you so much for joining us today. Thanks for your time,
Joe. It's been great. I appreciate you give me a buzz and get me on here and just sharing old memories. It's been fantastic.
And the best of luck with the academy, and I hope everything goes back to normal, back to the way it was real soon. You're back at Fort Sam. Steve Jennings, everybody. Appreciate you, Steve. Thank you.
Thanks, Joe.
Thanks, man.
See ya.